All right, welcome back. I'm Bianca Ariel, business coach and co-founder of Black and Influential. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week.
Hey everyone, I'm Dominique Rice, owner of Dominique Rice Consulting, handful of nanny agencies, and co-founder of Black and Influential. Thank you so much for being here today.
Awesome. So with us gearing up for our Black and Influential launch, I think that it would be helpful for us to just talk about, structuring and infrastructure of a business prior to kind of working on some of the other exciting elements. Because for us, we're really trying to tighten up the infrastructure in relation to our store and make sure that all of our cash flow and all of our operations are connected and run smoothly to ensure that we're actually creating a real business. I had the opportunity today to kind of go over what the cost of the items are going to be, how much we're going to charge for it, little aspects like shipping or the box that it comes in, all of those little dollars and cents really add up. And for us, in order for us to scale, we have to make sure that we're really, really tight prior to launch. So with you launching many different businesses, like what's your advice for everyone on that, Dominique?
So Bianca working with me, I know she knows it's all about the numbers for me. So I love all that doll stuff. I love all the exciting things and all that, but I'm like, what's the profit margins? And especially because a lot of our listeners are women entrepreneurs. A lot of times I have so many clients who literally don't know their profit margin, which is okay. It's okay not to know it, but you got to learn it. So if you don't know your profit margin,
I don't think it's okay not to know your profit margin.
Well, I'm saying for today, I'm not going to bash you. So it's okay if you don't know it right now, but you need to know it by next Monday.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm giving you 1 week to get to know it. So I'm not bashing you.
If you're already running a business and you don't know your profit margins, you need to sit down and just write everything out, map everything out, spreadsheets, whatever system you need to utilize. Because if you're not seeing that profit coming in and you don't even have an idea of what that looks like, then your business is going to suffer.
I have over 10 clients that are at the $500,000 mark and don't know their profit margins. It's a very common thing.
And that's the thing. $500,000 sounds great. Like,
right.
Oh, we did $500,000 in this month. Great. But did you have to spend $700,000 to make that happen? Because that's not great. So I think a lot of times when we see these advertisements and these marketing strategies, and we hear business owners talk about how much revenue they brought in, but what's your net? Because even I'm not even a stifler when it comes to money, but when you start visually painting the picture for me, I'll be like, well, we don't need a box that fancy. It's taking too long for us to get this together. Can we just go with this option? Or, every little dollar really counts, especially when we're trying to build it from scratch on our own.
But keep in mind, we're not saying be a cheap. We're not saying cheap off and do shitty quality or anything like that. We're just saying that just be mindful. If the quality is there, charge what you need to charge in order for your profit margin to be what it needs to be. We're not going to have the cheapest t-shirts in America. Okay. Right. I'm not the cheapest consultant, and I'm damn sure not the cheapest nanny agency you can find, but the quality is there and the return on investment's there, and you're going to feel good about any service and product that we put out there. So I'm not saying be cheap. I'm just saying make sure you know your numbers and make sure that it makes sense. I know someone who is an event planner, and she did an event a couple of weeks ago, and I love her to death, but she lost money on the event. And it wasn't for marketing. It was she did an event for a wedding. But with the decor and all that good stuff, she gave them a quote. And in order to bring that vision to life, it cost way more. So we're not in business. Business is fun, but we also need a paycheck. Okay. Yeah. So you can't go into different tasks losing money. And she's like, well, it was a good experience. I'm like, that's cool. And she wanted to kind of outshine some other event coordinators and what they did and, lower bid and stuff like that. And here she is, did all this work, bought all this stuff and made no profit and spent money. How do you feel about that, B?
Yeah, so I'm not in the business of doing that. And I understand how you can get caught up in that mind frame. See, so when I worked in corporate America and I had side projects, I was the definition of creating these projects without looking at profit margins. You know why? Because I had a paycheck every 2 weeks. So at that point, it's not a business, it's a hobby.
Right.
So, and that happens to a lot of people that are making money and have side businesses. They really never get off the ground because they have that security of a paycheck coming in every single 2 weeks. So any of their losses, they can just go ahead and fund, and then it becomes fun for them. But when they have to realize is that if you really want to scale this business, these are things that you have to take a look at from day one in order to scale. So if you're doing a wedding and you're not planning out everything in advance and you're just focused on outshining another event planner, maybe it's part of your marketing budget. I don't know. But as far as not making a profit at all, if that's your sole business and that's your only income that you rely on, you just simply can't do that. Like, we have to price our t-shirts in our other apparel in a certain range because we have to be able to make a profit. Not only do we have to be able to make a profit, we have to have a percentage of our profit in order to donate to our foundation. And so that dwindles every single time. So we, when choosing different wholesalers and distributors and fulfillment centers and things like that, I'm really trying to really make sure that our infrastructure is solid before we work on, putting together a PR marketing plan or designing a website, because that's more of my area. So now that I'm focused on this, I'm like noticing okay, boom, we're going to have to bump this up. We're going to have to bump this down. I mean, I had to take a logo off of something just because it was going to be an upscale of a charge where we needed it for another place. So again, I'm not emphasizing being cheap or cutting costs where it really matters.
Right.
You definitely just have to be mindful because we're doing this to be successful. And before we get to my area, which is the fun stuff for me, I really want to make sure our infrastructure is solid and that we really do have a standing business, because we're spending a lot of time and energy and money and we want to make sure that we're gonna receive that profit.
Correct. And so I would say that the number one thing is to know your ROI but also like Bianca's saying about our profits and our foundation is we're still going to have an amazing t-shirt. That's great quality. So we're not cutting quality. We're not don't cut your quality, keep your quality, but you have to upcharge your business in order for you to be successful. So I would say that's the first thing. I think the second thing when you're starting a business is to make sure you're working with people. If you are working with somebody, make sure they're credible and make sure that they're credible and reliable. Okay. So I oftentimes see people going into business and it just starts off janky. If it starts off janky, it's going to end janky. Okay. It's never going to get better. So how it starts is how you finish. So when you're starting something, I say, make sure you have open communication with everybody working the project. Everyone knows the goals and you're all on the same page, or else the results will never be what you want.
Yeah, and I think and I don't know if we're being biased because you're dealing with a business coach and a business consultant, but when we're looking to hire people, it almost feels like, our strategy and what we're able to output is essentially better than what we would do if we hired someone else. And I know that part of that is just protecting our time, but quality is really essential for us as well. And so I want people to really start looking at options. So
Right.
if you want to choose someone that you think is going to be a great fit for the position, I really want to invite you to look at between 3 to 5 different companies and figure out what they have to offer you. A lot of times, if you go and present a company with your concept, but also explain your strategy, all they try to do is really enhance or implement what you already have going on, which is great. But I also think it's useful for you to allow them to tell you what they can do for you that's outside of your own intellectual property. So that's another thing that I'm finding. I love the validation. I talked to one of the top social media marketing companies in the entire world today. And because we really don't have any, we're really about law of attraction, and we're not big on spending social media advertising dollars. However, we are open to it. But if we are going to choose someone to help us do that, I want it to be the best. And for me to go in and talk about the strategy that we have already implemented, they thought it was a tremendous idea. And so she asked me, okay, well, she let me know, okay, well, I'm going to go back to my team and see if this is something that we can get on. And we have to start realizing, especially as independent business owners and women and minorities, when we start approaching these large companies, we're hiring you. So no, actually, you tell me what you can do for me, and then we'll let you know whether or not we'll bring you on board. It's not only about you letting me know if you have time to work with me. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to respect people's value and understand what they bring to the table. And I would never want to disrespect anybody's proposal or, or try to cheapen them in any way. But I do feel like as minority business owners that we have to have the same stature and caliber as these corporations, and understand that we are bringing value to them as well.
Correct. And so, I like what Bianca said when she discussed, like, don't tell everybody what you're doing. If I'm hiring you, if you guys are hiring someone, right? Okay. You want to say, what can you bring to this table to make this brand better? You want to come with ideas. Why, starting October 1st, I'm no longer doing free consultations is because during my free consultations, I would give my clients a full action plan on all tangible things to get their business making money within 30 days. They didn't have to book another call, and they had that action plan, because that's important for me as a professional to show you how I can help your business. So I think for Bianca and I, because we bring the value when we work with clients, we're expecting that in return. And I think a lot of people, especially big time people, LA, New York, a lot of people are like, I ain't giving you nothing till you pay me. But then we have to look at it as you too, as consumers, you have to look at it and say, well, am I going to pay you if I don't know if you can deliver?
Right.
Because I've spent, and I mean, just for example, an accountant, I've been working on the same project for an entire year now. I've paid thousands of dollars and this project is not done, and I am pissed. I finally think I found someone that can do the project, but everybody talks about it, everybody gives you a timeline, everybody sends you an invoice, and then now I know what questions to ask. They're not even asking the right questions. Now they got to get back to me. Oh, I don't know. So, you got to let people come to the table and tell you what they can do before you even bring them on. You don't have marketing dollars to play with other people's potential.
Right. Absolutely. And it's a strategic partnership. So I help you, whether it's in a form of, currency or what have you. You help me, whether it's your intellectual property, your know-how. It's a strategic partnership. So don't be afraid to outsource. Don't be afraid to look for help elsewhere. Understand what your strengths are, but also understand what you have time to do as well.
Right.
I'm enjoying this process because I'm actually not a numbers person, but I can be if we're talking about making money. And so for me, I like to understand before we bring somebody on to really manage this operation, I want to have the know-how. I want to understand exactly what's going on behind the scenes. Because we can push and do all this fun stuff, but if we're looking at our margins and it's not even worth our time to get up out of bed for, then we need to just start a volunteer system or something like that. It's not a
job. You know what I mean? Like, if it's
a volunteer, you know what I mean? So and don't be afraid of that. I think that in our society, I don't know, don't be afraid to charge for your services or charge for your products, and, understand what you're putting into a business. And I was watching a video today that was actually talking about pricing and considering, are you inputting the amount of time that you're utilizing in order to create the business in the first place or create the concept in the first place, because that's of value as well. And I think we need to place a value on our own time. And so for me doing this infrastructure and designing and coming up with going as far as I can on my own, it's almost like since I'm saving that cost, it's like returning it back to the business. Okay, we're saving such and such dollars on this because we have the know-how and we're utilizing our expertise into our own brands. But it's still valuable. So in our contracts, say we're pursuing something externally, we could put that. This is how much our consulting services and fees are for this particular business, because we still are a business in our own right. Correct. So that's something that we have to analyze, because coming together with two of our brains and our experience on one project, is very, very, very essential. So, and beneficial.
And time is everything. So I have to tell y'all a funny story.
Okay.
So yesterday I went to the DMV to register my car.
Thank Jesus.
Well, I was trying to register for 2 years because it's been super unregistered. I just hate going there. This is why I hate it so much. So it was a 2.5 hour process. I had my everything ready to go to register my car for last year and this year, so I was good to go. So then they're like, oh, we can't register for the next year. You need to get another inspection. It has to be within 90 days. I said, oh, well, here's the inspection. It's within 90 days. Oh, you just need to get another one too.
Why?
And I said, okay, well, that's what I asked. So the gentleman I said, he told me that he couldn't do it. The manager came over, no, we can't do it. You need to get 2 inspections. Well, even if it's within the 90 days, I said, okay, well, can you show me where that is written so I can, have it? He said, no. I said, so do you not know where it's at, or are you choosing not to show me? He's like, I'm choosing not to show you. So what I explained to him was, let me tell you something about my time. I don't sit behind a desk, and I'm not trying to, demean anybody or their jobs, but I waited in line 2.5 hours to get this taken care of, and I'm leaving without it done, and I'm very disappointed. Okay, because time is everything. And he did inform me that my assistant can come do it, even though they said she couldn't do it. So it's just like, time is so important. You can't, if you're an entrepreneur, spending 2.5 hours during the business day when you're launching a new brand, like, first of all, you're definitely not getting a ticket to our gala now. Right. You will not be approved for a ticket. I told him that too. He's probably like, I don't give a shit about you or your gala.
You told him that? I believe you too.
So Brian that works at the DMV is not getting a ticket to the Black and Influential Gala ever.
Okay.
So, period. So if he comes through on a ticket request, it's denied.
Okay.
He's on the deny list. So anywho, but time is so important, guys. So you have to manage your time. That's the one thing. You can make more money. You can get rest another time, but your time, I can't stand losing it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It takes me to the next level. So make sure you're managing your time and calculating. I have a client that works sometimes 100 hours a week. And I tell her, I'm like, you need to delegate. You need to delegate because you're not paying yourself for 100 hours a week.
Right.
You're paying yourself a salary for 40, maybe 50 hours. So you can technically go work at Walmart $100 hours a week and make triple of what you're making.
Right. Right.
So what can we do to fix that? And that's so important too. So those are the top 3 things I would say when you're launching a business in terms of infrastructure to get correct.
Okay, run through those 3 items again.
Number 1, know your numbers and your ROI. Number 2, you're going to need help. Make sure when you're hiring that you're allowing the professionals to be professional and implement. And number 3, time is everything. So be mindful of what time you're putting into your business and making sure that your ROI is matching that time that you're putting in.
Absolutely. And put a deadline and time structures on, your outsourced help as well.
Oh, for sure.
He was like, I'll get back to you. I'm like, well, we need to know by October 1st because we have a hard deadline of October 31st. So we have to have everything in line, ready to go, ready to launch for our 60-day marketing plan. But we don't want to work on the marketing plan until we have the infrastructure in place. But by the time this is done, we need to start moving on and we need to know by then. So she actually emailed me just now. I sent you it. I forwarded it to you. All right. Do you have a fun question for today?
Bianca, what has the funnest trip you've ever been on, and where were you, and what?
We've already done this.
We have?
Yeah.
Y'all can't remember shit.
I know.
Okay, what's your favorite flower?
I don't have I like white roses.
You like white roses?
Yeah, I like white roses.
I like red roses, but I don't like the cheap ass ones. I like the real nice bouquet that's like, like
they don't come in the plastic, they come in like brown wrap.
Right. Now I do sometimes, like if I just order some, because I like to get fresh flowers just for the week. So sometimes if I'm not going to the store or see the florist, I'll just order some from the grocery store just to bring some life into my space. But yes, I like the ones that like just wrap that, even if it's just 12, it looks like 30.
Looks super cute. Yeah, white roses are my favorite. So anytime if like my partner buys me red roses, I'm like, and they're like, what's wrong? This is beautiful. I'm like, you don't know me at all. Like, I don't like.
I didn't know that about you, B. You need to let people know.
I don't like red roses. I love white roses. Like, I think it's just so pure, and red is just typical. You know what I mean? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Hopefully you found it helpful. I definitely recommend stopping right now and looking at your profit margins. If you need help with any of that, Dominique is the one to go to. So find her at dominiquerice.com, and you can find me at biancaariel.com. All right. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.